She's back. What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 9 of Cash and Confidence, where we talk money, market power, and respect. I am your host, Mo Money. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to me. I needed a mental break. I am a hustler by nature, and so I get caught up in the things that I'm trying to do and I'm trying to accomplish, that I get hyper fixated on it to a point where I forget that I'm a human, right? And I'm maintaining little humans. I've got three children. And I need to always find my way back to self. I have to find my way back to being. We get so caught up on like the future and what has happened in the past as to why, oh my God, I can't believe I did this and da da da. Who cares? You can't fix it. Move forward, and then you get focused on the forward, right? You're thinking like future. How do I build this legacy? How do I maintain this legacy? And then you forget to be here in the here and now. And the here and now is the most important because you can't get to the future without being here, present. So I needed that mental break. Thank you all for your patience. Thank you all for your understanding. Thank you all for listening. And we like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. You know it. Anyways, recap of episode 8. We did DYOR, do your own research. We talked about how to research your own stocks for your investments for your portfolio. And this week, I want to take it a step further and talk about how you actually stay invested, which is using proper risk, time, and strategy for your investments. So this week's episode is going to be called How to Actually Invest Like a Pro. Why is strategy important over emotion? The market moves psychologically. It's your psychological is so important when you're dealing with any market, stock market, foreign exchange market, crypto market, doesn't matter. Car market, even when you're shopping for a car, it's all psychological. You need to stay focused on what your goal is, right? And so many people tend to lose money because they're panicking or jumping in and out of their investments too fast instead of just letting the market do its thing. So strategy is important because investing isn't about being perfect. It's about consistency. If you're striving for perfection, you're going off of emotion. If you're striving for consistency, you need strategy. You need discipline. So just remember that strategy, it's keeping you grounded when the market is getting loud. The market will do that, especially depending on what the news is or what the media is putting out there. The market can get very loud. And by loud, I mean like volatile. So it's important to let your emotions stay on the backseat. You can't let your emotions be your financial advisor, basically. To back that up, the most important part is to have risk tolerance. So what does risk tolerance mean? To break it down, high risk would be like more volatility. So you're willing to put out more money. Maybe you ran your finances, maybe you ran your money map and you're like, okay, I can put this much towards it. And you want to have more volatility in your portfolio. That could give you the potential for more reward. On the flip side, low risk would be more stability, but a slower growth. So you need to figure out what your risk tolerance is. How much are you willing to risk to get a reward back? And it's about your comfort level. It's not what the internet says. It's not what Joe Schmo up the road says. It's just what you're able to do based off of your finances. Couple check-in questions that you can ask yourself is like, would I lose sleep if this dropped 20%, right? Do I have long enough time to recover if it drops? And then am I investing money I can afford to let sit? Because with investing, particularly in this type of investing we're talking about, you do want to let your money sit over time. And so you can't be worried about what it's doing. You need to just let it grow on its own. I when I think about my accounts, I just let them grow on their own. I maybe check in on them once a month, just to kind of see what they're doing. But other than that, I really don't touch it. The only time I'm touching it is to put more money into it, right? So think about your risk tolerance. What are you willing to spend for what you're able to receive back? You got to think about the time horizon, right? Because we're talking about risk, time, and strategy. So the time horizon is how long do you have? If you need your money in 2 years, you might want to go low risk. you're going to have a slower growth, but you need your money quicker. So you want to be sure that you have that money there. So go low risk. If you're thinking retirement in 20 years, go higher risk. You know, if you're able to wait 20 years, you can choose a more volatile portfolio because you have that time to continuously build to it. So time is your superpower when investing. When you're investing into stocks or things like that, you need to space yourself out. Make sure it's for retirement. Now, when we talk about trading, which we will talk about, trust me, maybe sometime in season 2 or season 3. But when we talk about trading, it's a different scenario because usually people are trading for like quick results, especially day trading. So, yeah. When you're talking about stocks and investments to your portfolio, definitely use time to your advantage. The longer your money can sit, the more freedom you have with your strategy, basically. And then another part is, what do you do when the market drops? You know, don't panic sell. This is when people lock in losses. You know, revisit your goals. Did your plan change, or is it just the price that changed? Is it just the media putting out something in this current moment and, you know, the institutions getting their liquidity grabs? I'm just saying. Consider buying more if it fits your strategy. If the market is dropping, it's important to understand that the rich, the wealthy are buying more when there's a sale. And the scared are the ones that are selling off. So don't sell off what you have. Buy more once it's, you know, dropped. And that's a part of doing your research on the market. And you have to kind of differentiate, which one are you? Are you scared? Are you going to sell off? Or are you trying to be wealthy and you're going to buy more? You're going to accumulate. So create a long-term strategy. And I have some tips for long-term strategy. So number 1, stick to your plan. Even if it's boring, even if it's tough for you to do sometimes, stick to the plan. Do not let your emotions get involved with your investing. I speak from experience on that. Trust me. Rebalance your portfolio every 3 to 6 months. If you have a little bit more to invest into it, invest into it. You know, consider the dollar cost averaging, which is like where you're adding money into you're adding money consistently. Like say you have auto investing set up and you're doing $10 right now. Always reassess your portfolio and find out if you're able to put more into it. Okay. Check in with your goals every year. At the first of the year, you know, everybody's creating those vision boards. Create a finance board, like create your goals on a finance board and map out exactly what you want your finances to do this year. Avoid checking your investments every day. Like I said, I have an investment account. I let my money sit in there. I don't check it every single day. I might check it like once a month just to kind of see what we're doing and if we need to do anything else. But other than that, just let it sit. You know, the stock market isn't a slot machine. It's a wealth building tool. So if you treat it like a wealth building tool, that's how it's going to be. Don't treat it like a slot machine because you can lose your money. You know, especially if you treat it like gambling. A lot of people think the stock market and the markets in general are gambling, but that's because they don't know. I've said that before. It's because they don't know what they're doing. They don't have a strategy behind it. You just jump into the market with no strategy. I did that. Trust me. In the beginning, I jumped into the market. I have lost so much money just jumping in with no strategy or thinking I have a strategy and then not following to that strategy so many times. And I think a lot of traders can attest to this. So many of us have blown our accounts just not knowing what the hell we're doing until you finally decide, I am done blowing my account. I need to create a better plan to get consistent results. Sometimes it takes losing that money, but you know what? It happens overall. So some tools that you can use, Fidelity in Public. I've talked about those a lot. You can auto invest and risk tolerance quizzes. So you can take a quiz and actually figure out what risk tolerance you are actually looking for if you can't decide for yourself. Portfolio visualizers would be like Empower or Morningstar. So you can see the visual of your portfolio. Your personal money map from episode 4, where I gave you the spreadsheet. Please, if you're not using it, please do, because it's so powerful. Not only does it map out what your budget will be that you could spend, but it tells you how much you need to be saving. It tells you how much you can invest. So use that, and however much money you have to invest, get started, right? As soon as you get what you got to get done. You can also use the wealth circle strategy that I provided to you in episode 5. Maintain the strategy that I gave you step by step, and you'll be on the right path to investing like a pro. You see what I'm saying? I got your back. You know, the beautiful part about listening to Cash and Confidence is that you have me. You know, you have me not just here on the podcast, but you have me, like, message me on Instagram, reach out to me. Let's talk. Let's collaborate. I want to collaborate more, and definitely in season 2, I definitely want to have more guest speakers. I know it's tough just listening to me babble on, if you do even listen to me, but listening to me babble on is tough. But I just want to give the general knowledge for this season, and then the next seasons to come, we'll have a little bit more visuals. We'll have more insight on different things. This is just a beginning for you guys. The moral of the story is, you don't need to be fearless. You just need to be prepared. Be prepared for your investing. Investing isn't a marathon, right? It's not a pop quiz. It's showing up with a strategy, adjusting when needed, and keeping the momentum, keeping it going. If you don't have the appropriate discipline, you have to work on that first. Go back to episode 1 where we talked about money mindset and understanding what I just said in the beginning of this episode, that, like, you may need to take a mental assessment and establish, like, what are my life goals? But how can I work towards those being here and now in the moment? What can I do right here, right now, that is going to get me to those goals? It's always important to get mental clarity. I had to throw that in there because I needed mental clarity myself. So send this to someone who sold their stock at that dip. You know, when it dipped and everybody was panicking, right? I had a couple people ask me, do I sell it? Do I sell it? And I'm like, no, you don't, because it's going to go back up. But if you had somebody who did sell it, send this podcast to them. Do that. Send this episode to them. We're keeping everybody grounded over here, and we're keeping everybody in the here and now, in this present moment. Amen. This episode was short, but I mean, I feel like they're always short at this point. We're trying to wrap up season 1. Okay. So I appreciate you guys so much for listening, as always. And until next episode, guys, namaste.